my channel. My name is Erin. So today, guys, I want to come on here and do a movie review. I haven't done one in a minute, and luckily I just watched a movie last night. It's not a new movie, but it's one I've just seen for the first time, and it came out last year, and it is Knives Out. So I just watched this because I just realized it was free on Amazon Prime, so it's free, you know, why not? And I've also been interested in this one because it has some actors in it that I really do like, and the plot and everything about it just seemed interesting. So I went ahead and watched it last night with my sisters and my niece. So I'm going to tell you guys my opinion on it. So if that is interesting to you, just go ahead and keep watching. So this movie, Knives Out, came out, I believe, 2019, in 2019 or beginning of 2020, I'm not sure, but so I'm going to first give you guys some background information about the movie like I've been doing recently for my reviews. So this one is a PG-13 film, and it's about a rich man who is found dead in his home, like his huge mansion, and hit with his throat slit. And his death is ruled as a suicide because that's what came back with medical examinators. It just showed that he slit his throat, which we do see. But someone secretly hires a private detective, a very famous private detective, to investigate this death, and nobody knows who hired this detective, and nobody knows why, because it is ruled as a suicide. So the whole movie is this mystery about kind of who killed him, and is this detective going to find out? And actually, we find out how this man died about halfway through, but it's not as it seems. It's not as it seems. So I'm trying not to give too much away and spoil it. But yeah, so it's a lot of twists and turns, and it's really good. So our cast for this movie, I'm going to tell you the main people. Ana de Armas, who plays Marta Cabrera. So she is a Cuban, I believe she's Cuban actress. I know she has done some shows in España, or in Spain, because I watched a show called El Internado, which is a Spanish show about these group of kids that live in this boarding school in this forest and all this, and she was in that show, and I remember her. Like, I kept looking at her face, and I was like, I know this girl for sure, and she was off that show that I used to love that show. Then we have Chris Evans, which everybody knows Chris Evans. He's very famous. He plays Ransom Drysdale. We have Daniel Craig, who is our detective Benoit Blanc. I don't know if I think that's how you say that. It sounds very it sounds very French, but he has like this thick southern accent throughout the whole movie. It's hilarious, and I think it was done on purpose to kind of add to the satire and humor of this. We have Jamie Lee Curtis, who playing the daughter of the man who died. I think she's the eldest of the children. We have Lakeith Stanfield, who is one of the other lieutenants. He works for the police department, whereas Daniel Craig is playing a private detective. And then we have Christopher Plummer, who is playing Harlan Thormsby. Harlan. Yes, he's the main, he's the father that is found dead in the house. I don't know why I just blinked there, but Christopher Plummer is playing the father who they think commit suicide. So that's our main cast, and we have other people in this movie. Obviously, there's more characters, there's more family members, some very familiar faces to me. Like, we have the kid from It. Oh my god, I don't remember his name. I think it's like Jaden. He's in here. We have the girl from 13 Reasons Why. She's in here, and a couple other people. But yeah, so that's our cast, that's our plot. So let's go ahead and start talking about what did I think of this movie, what are my thoughts. So if I'm just giving my initial thoughts of this movie, I just have seen it for the first time, one time only, I have to say that I was surprised at how funny this movie was. This movie was pretty hilarious. I think that the comedic timing and the way they chose to do like the comedy portion of this was very funny. Everybody was just amazing with their parts and just making this even more funny. It's like you're watching a real family, like a real like upper class family, and they're really arguing and stuff, and it was just hilarious how they all interacted with each other, as well as just different plot points that were just pretty funny. I think the humor was pretty well done. Also, there's one more thing I have to note. Ana de Armas, who plays Marta Cabrera, she's one of the main characters in this. She's the nurse of the man who killed himself. So that's kind of an important thing to note. And another thing that's important about her character is like she'll get caught in a lie, because if she lies, she has a reflex, like a gag reflex. Every time she lies, she just can't lie, and she throws up. So that adds to the plot of the story, because this detective is like, well, you can't lie, so I'm going to use you. You're like my Watson to, Sherlock, So he uses her, but there's a twist with that. There's a lot of twists in this. Okay, so my second good thing, positive, is the story and the plot is really great. I think it's pretty solid. Like, it gives you a really pretty solid plot. Good story that's very engaging. And throughout the whole story, you're definitely super engaged within the story. And you're just wondering, like, it's a whodunit, or is there going to be a twist, or is the person that we think the person that does it, are they going to get caught? Is everybody going to figure this out? Is everybody going to figure out what happened? So it's really engaging. It just keeps you super entertained. There's so many great scenes in this that I just was like, this is a standout scene, which we'll get to when I do my highlight scene at the end. So I was completely engaged. I like that the fact that the movie took, so this is my next point, this detective style, like it's almost like a Clue game, or like, those traditional detective style books or novels or stories, and they kind of amped it up and flipped it on its head a bit and gave you funny and gave you entertaining and gave you different characters, while also pushing in slightly some kind of agenda stuff, like a little bit of politics here, a little bit of controversy here, without overdoing it and just pushing it down on your head and just flooding you with it and making you like shoving it down your throat like you need to believe this. It was very nicely put into the story, and it just kept it that much more engaging. So I love how they took that detective style. They added a little bit of flair here and there by doing different topics, and I think it made the story even better. So I love how they amped up the detective style of story and made it funny and gave it a lot of twists and turns. It reminded me very much of like a Hardy Boys or like a Nancy Drew or like a Sherlock type of story, which I used to love those type of stories as when I was younger. Like Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys, those were my things when I was younger, for sure. So that was awesome. That's another positive. And then my last positive is the characters. I think the characters are awesome in the story. The actors did such a good job. Like, almost every single actor did an awesome job. Like, I don't think I can say, yeah, every actor really did a great job. And I think that's just having a good cast and just really how they were directed, maybe. I can't say one negative thing about the characters or the acting. So, yeah, it seemed like a real family. It was very funny. Everybody did great in their part. And if I have to say any negatives, I would say maybe that sometimes it was a little bit stretching the believability part. For example, like someone that has a gag reflex when they are lying. Maybe that's real. I don't know. Possibly that's real. But, it is a story. It's fiction. So I went along with it. And you don't really need to be, like, analyzing every little thing to make sure it just falls right into place with our reality, because it is fiction. So that would be like my only like little negative thing. So finally, okay, so usually I do like 1 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, but I'm gonna start doing like little grades, because a little corny, but I am a teacher, so I'm gonna grade the movies. So if I was to give this movie a grade, I would give it an A minus, because it just has so many positive points. I think it was hilarious. I think the characters were great, and I just really enjoyed it. I had fun with this movie. Me and my sisters were laughing. It was great. So for this movie, I'm giving it an A minus. Really good. Alright, so my highlight scene. I always do a highlight scene. One highlight scene. Okay, I have a couple because I couldn't just choose one. It was that good. The chase scene was hilarious. Like, there's this chase scene with the nurse and one of the family members. Ransom. And it was just freaking hilarious how they were doing all this maneuvering to get away from the police and doing this chase scene. And they ended up getting caught anyways. Sorry to spoil, I'm sorry. Spoiler, they got caught. But it was hilarious the way the chase scene was maneuvered. And the police officer was like, that is the dumbest chase I've ever encountered. Yeah. Another highlight scene is definitely I don't want to spoil the movie, but towards the end, like the real person gets caught and they try to hurt another person that they was trying to blame it on, and they grab this knife, and it's like this knife display that is kind of almost, I think, a Game of Thrones type of parody spoof. And the dad that is, you know, killed himself, he writes books, so I'm guessing he wrote a book that they're kind of saying is like the Game of Thrones. And so there's this huge knife display, knives out, right? And the person that gets caught tries to grab the knife and stab the other person, but he doesn't realize all the knives are fake. So that scene was hilarious to me, and my sisters, we bust out laughing. And then the last highlight scene I'm going to note is the reading of the will. So when the family sits down to hear the will being read by the lawyer or whoever, it's like a great scene. It was like, starts off very calm, and then it just slowly builds up, and it explodes once they hear that will being read. And I think it was just done perfectly and very, very much very entertaining and chaotic and funny. So those are my highlight scenes. I'm sorry I picked more than one, but I just had to. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about this movie. Giving it an A- grade because I think it was pretty awesome. I know it got nominated for some awards and stuff. I don't know if it won. Probably should do better research, but yeah, it definitely deserves whatever accolades and awards it did get, because it was very entertaining and very good. And I liked seeing a lot of some of my favorite actors in different, you know, kind of scenarios, like Jamie Lee Curtis. You know, she's done all kinds of movies, but you know, we usually see her with the horror genre. That's what she's like most known for, you know, Scream Queen. But it was funny to see her in this, and you know, seeing some familiar faces from other shows. So I just really enjoyed this. Giving it a great grade, and I definitely would recommend it. If you haven't seen it, watch it, especially if you have Amazon Prime. It is free right now, so you don't have to pay. Alright guys, so that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Definitely check out more videos on my channel. Subscribe. If you guys are wondering about the makeup, I use the Mercury Retrograde Huda Beauty palette, and I'll link down any other products I used in the description box. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you. Adios.